Raptor fever has taken over Toronto, and the best medicine is a superfood-filled red velvet Raptor cupcake. Beets! Red velvet cake shows up at every party, but over the years I've tried countless recipes and I've never been satisfied with the flavor or with having to use a whole tube of red food coloring. I finally created the perfect red velvet cake recipe that has a rich chocolate flavor and is full of a superfood, beets. Start by preparing your beets. This recipe makes between 9 and 10 cupcakes and needs less than half a cup of beet puree, so estimate the number of beets accordingly. Lightly season them with olive oil and a bit of salt and wrap in foil. Bake at 350 degrees for about 75 minutes or until they're fork tender. Let the beets cool so you can handle them and then gently rub off the skin. Once you have peeled your beets, chop them in your food processor until you have very small pieces. Add a little bit of water to help smooth out the mix. Remove your beet puree, but keep your food processor handy for blending your wet ingredients. Combine a quarter cup of buttermilk, a quarter cup plus 2 tablespoons of your fresh beet puree, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice. Blend this until the beet pieces are completely pulverized. Scrape down the sides of your bowl and add 1 egg. Pulse this mixture a few times until the egg is completely incorporated. Next, work on the chocolate component of your cake. In a medium saucepan, gently heat 3 tablespoons of natural cocoa powder, half a cup of vegetable oil, and 2 tablespoons of water. Whisk these until they come to a simmer and then turn the mixture off and allow it to cool for a few minutes. I find that most red velvet recipes do not have enough cocoa flavor, but you can use less if you want a more vivid red color. Sift together your dry ingredients to create a light, fluffy cake. Over your mixing bowl, start with 1 cup of flour, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, a pinch of salt, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. Whisk these together to mix everything. Add your slightly cooled cocoa and oil mixture and mix until just combined. Finally, add your beet mixture, a little bit at a time, scraping the bowl down and mixing for about 10 seconds. Scrape your bowl down one last time and then divide your batter into baking cups. An ice cream scoop is the best way to guarantee even cooking and beautiful cupcakes. Bake your cupcakes at 350 degrees for 18 to 20 minutes. You can usually tell they're ready when you start smelling cake. While your cupcakes are cooking, we're going to start on the decorative chocolate Raptor Claws that are going to sit on top of them. Start with 3/4 of a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Add 1 tablespoon of cream and heat in the microwave for 1 minute on medium heat setting. Stir the chocolate mixture. If it does not smooth out, heat it for another 30 seconds on medium heat and continue to do so until your chocolate is glossy and smooth. Spread your chocolate claws using a teaspoon onto a silicone baking liner. The Raptor Claw shape I'm using was inspired by the 1993 film Jurassic Park. When you're happy with your shapes, sprinkle some red decorative sugar crystals onto the claws to make them sparkle. Put your silicone liner on a tray and chill it in the refrigerator or freezer until you are ready to serve. The final component of the Red Velvet Raptors is a spin on a traditional cream cheese frosting. Instead of using icing sugar, I'm using granulated sugar. Start by whipping together a 1/4 cup of room temperature unsalted butter with 3 tablespoons of granulated white sugar. Turn your mixer on and let this go for about 10 minutes. As the sugar and butter mix together, the sugar actually punches tiny air pockets into the butter, making your frosting light and fluffy. Eventually, you will not notice any of the sugar crystals because they meld into the butter. Once the sugar is fully incorporated, add a half a cup of room temperature Philadelphia cream cheese. Let these whip together for a few minutes, scraping down the bowl. Next, add 1 tablespoon of icing sugar and 2 teaspoons of milk. This will help give your icing that super smooth consistency and give it a nice rich milky flavor. To assemble your Red Velvet Raptors, fill a Ziploc bag with your cream cheese frosting and cut off a 1 to 1.5 centimeter opening at the base. Start from the center of your cupcakes and pipe around. Don't worry if your swirls aren't perfect. The claws are going to cover a lot of the surface. Sprinkle some of your red sugar crystals onto the cupcakes to repeat the theme and the red velvet flavor. When you're ready, take your chocolate claws out of the fridge and carefully remove them from the silicone baking liner. You may find it helpful to use a flat spatula or knife to do this. Gently place them on your cupcakes and prepare to impress your guests. Show some support for Toronto by making this recipe for your next Raptors viewing party. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and to deannadickens.com for more food, beauty, and travel tips. Thanks for watching!